the beat. The beat.
This week on PrimeTime League, we see who's going to make it out of the group stage and break through to London. We check in with the pros on mic check, and we count down the top 5 players from the first week with the Penta. Zut alors! PrimeTime League starts maintenant!
Two Tigers, too far behind, can't do anything. What is up with the upsets? And Origin beat LGD. The Cinderella story is still alive. They are undefeated in the World Championship, and Cloud9 are 3-0.
Welcome everyone to a beautiful day here in Paris, France, and we've got a wonderful day of PrimeTime League for you here. I'm Riv and Phreak, and what can make this better than being joined by two wonderful people who's got D in their summoner names, Officio and Doa. It's Worlds, throwing baguettes all over the place, thundersticks and all that. Now, guys, Worlds has been amazing. There have been more upsets than TSM fans after their games. Wow.
Well, I mean, yeah, we have seen a lot of surprises. A lot of predictions came in, you know, LGD winning their group and so on. They're 0-3.
Yeah.
Definitely, we don't seem to have like one region standing out anymore. It's just a lot of good teams across the board.
Yeah, absolutely, I agree. I mean, there's one region standing out. There's one region that has a 3-0 and 2-2-1.
Is it Korea?
It is Korea.
That
I know this may come as a shock.
Do you know anything about Korea?
Korean teams doing
I've heard of them before. I found them on the internet. Reddit seems to be a pretty big fan. I'm like, yeah, okay, all right.
Interesting.
I'll look at this Korea thing.
Yeah, they're obviously doing well. Let's actually start breaking down some of the games. Let's talk about Group B, because you talk about teams doing well. Cloud9, apple pie, baby, 3-0 in Group B here. Tell me what you guys thought about the games from last week in Group B.
I really like the strategy Cloud9 is using. This siege composition they run, sneaky on Tristana, Azir, Vega for Incarnation in the mid lane, and you just very early get towers down and get a big goal lead. I still want to see what teams do when that gets banned away from them, which I expect to happen next week. I thought even Fnatic would do it, but they tried to run that hard engage composition instead. That didn't really work too well for them. So C9 is definitely surprising me. I just want to see if they can play more strategies in that one.
I mean, that's really it, isn't it? Like, C9 is 3-0, and that's awesome. It's cool to see an NA team, especially C9, be able to do that in their group. That's the best way to describe how C9 looks right now. Is they look good, but they look fragile. I wouldn't be surprised at all to see them go 0-3 in the second week. I hope it doesn't happen. But at the same time, I think that group can still be very competitive, which is a bit weird to say when one of the teams is 3-0. But I'll be a little bit surprised if they can keep up this level of results in week 2.
I think IG then is the complete opposite. Coming in with, there were a lot of questions, are they too inconsistent to play? I personally maybe even overhyped their bottom lane a little bit, Kid and Kitties. I never felt like they were good, but I felt like they were good enough to at least hold their own and have a decent performance here. Maybe I was wrong with that one because they've not been showing up. But IG as a team, also Kakao needs to step up more. Zitai needs to really get in the game because otherwise they're going to drop out of groups, which is a big disappointment for that team.
Well, you talk about big disappointments here. Fnatic are 1-2. They have the same record as Pain and TSM. I mean, really, this is the company you guys are in here. It's a really rough start for them, and it feels like arrogance. It feels like cockiness. We saw it in the Spring Split playoffs where Huni was playing Smite, Lee Sin top for some reason, and it was pretty terrible. Now he's running Yasuo and a Darius, so he can never 1v1, which is supposed to be like the one matchup Fnatic are supposed to win.
I think they're
like
cocky.
When he played against C9. It looks cocky. I mean, his play just looks like cockiness, which is really disheartening because I had Fnatic doing so well, and they're not right now.
I think we all had them do really well, but the compositions are very risky.
Yeah.
They're running, the Yasuo coming in and everything. They need to fix that for next week.
All right, well, talking about next week then, predictions. Doa, start with you. Number 1, number 2 in the group.
I mean, it's hard to say. I mean, C9 has such a big lead that if they can get any wins at all, they can kind of keep it up. I feel like Fnatic's going to overcome some of their weaknesses, and by weaknesses I mean things that they had previously solved, but then kind of unsolved for a week, and hopefully will solve again next week. So I think C9 can probably stay on top, maybe second place, and then Fnatic somewhere around there too.
C9 takes first unless they can't play any other strategies and people find that out and ban it away from them. Otherwise, they take number 1. Fnatic, of course, takes number 2.
Yeah, I agree with you, Officio. I think the 2-game lead is enough for C9. Also, the fact they're going to play well. I'm going to say they probably end the group stage 5-1. I'm going to say like it's a good first place for them. And then I think Fnatic shores up and they go 2-1 or 3 to end the week. Well, we've had a pretty good time here in Paris. We wanted to show you guys a little bit more of the city. So we had Shox take a tour of Montmartre with the top hitters had a come-see, come-saw performance here in the group stage.
Bonjour tout le monde, hello everybody, I'm Shox here with rainy Paris behind me. We're at the top of Montmartre at the Basilique de Sacré-Cœur and we're about to walk down to Place de Tertre to meet up with someone that has been doing pretty well in the tournament so far, so follow me. Bonjour!
Ça va?
Oui. I'm tired, and you?
A bit tired after this week too.
Oh, man. And what a beautiful day you picked to
To what?
talk about your incredible week. It was crazy.
It was intense.
Yeah?
3 games. Yeah, pretty. We didn't win so convincingly, but it was great games overall.
But it started really well. I'm gonna be honest. I really didn't think it was gonna go that well. I'm
For
sorry.
us?
Yeah, I'm sorry.
No,
Yeah.
I didn't think so either. I think, as people say, we kind of got like the momentum.
Yeah.
Because in the same time, people didn't really believe in us. Like they thought that we'll be third, probably better than TSM from what people said, but like we'll fight for second place maybe, and in the end we are 3-0.
And how has it been for you? Because I asked you after the game, like they were doing the wave, and you said I couldn't really see. But then
Yeah.
after the game, everyone is like, "Soas, wow!" And then it's kind of you left Fnatic, and it's the whole story. And then the World Championship is here, and it starts in France. It's almost like the stars align, no? Or don't you think that way?
I'm not sure. I think it's really good for us in general, like all the French people to have the first group, like the group stages in Paris.
Yes.
I don't know. Everyone is asking me like, do you feel like the crowd help you or does
Yeah.
it give you a disadvantage or something like this? But I feel really happy seeing people cheer for us.
So I gotta ask, now that Fnatic is kind of on the ropes and you guys are 3-0, 1, are you gonna make it out of groups? And 2, do you see yourself, do you dare to think that you might be able to be the world champions?
Well, as you said, we are like 3-0, so I don't really want to jinx it or anything like this, but I hope that we can make it out of groups. I think we need just 1 win. We'll see what happens, but I hope that we can make it out. About winning Worlds, if I had to say that, like 1 month ago, I would say that we had 0% chance.
Yeah.
But I believe if we play the same way as we did during these last 3 games, as long as we play the same way, we can probably have a good shot at Worlds. Maybe not win the finals, but I think we can maybe go to the finals.
Well, we'll see what happens, but since we're here in Montmartre, kind of the center of art, Van Gogh lived here, Picasso, Monet, I think we should get our picture drawn. What do you think?
Sure, why not?
All right, let's do it.
Bonjour. Bonjour. Vous parlez français, monsieur?
Oui, je parle français.
Oui, très bien. Alors, bonjour. Bonjour. Je suis Jacques. Je vous invite, mademoiselle. Bonjour. Voilà, c'est terminé. Vous pouvez voir le dessin. Les deux. Venez. Les deux.
I see the virtual enhancements. Well, thank you so much for making this beautiful memory with me in the rain here. I know you have to practice, so thank you.
Thank you.
And good luck.
Thank you.
You know, guys, I feel like that draw was worse than H2K's at Worlds this year.
That was terrible. Terrible.
I thought it was great. Guys, you can
Terrible.
see the weather is cleared up around the Eiffel Tower, which means it's time to talk about Europe's best performing team here, Origin, over in Group D. 3-0 for
expected,
Europe,
as
as
expected.
expected.
As Cloud9 or less expected? Which is more improbable? The
I would say the
Origin,
Cloud9 was clearly less
Maybe a little
probable,
bit,
but
yeah.
the clouds are gone, so we're not talking about them anymore.
Okay.
Okay.
So, Origin Group
Fire
D.
away.
I'm trying to set the group, and none of you are talking. Tell me about what your opinion on what happened so far.
So what happened? I want to start with LGD.
Okay.
They didn't do anything other than just go in and lose very, very quickly. Every single game, honestly. I think already in pick and ban phase, they lost. We see a lot of talk regarding this coach, Chris, who left the team, before they got here to Worlds, who qualified with them, but he was only there for a few weeks, and then he meant he did everything, and then he didn't do anything, and whatever happened, clearly it affected him because the pick and ban phase right now, I think, is one of the worst I've seen from any team, honestly, at Worlds. And that's not acceptable in this group here with so many good teams.
Well, especially with all the hype coming in around these guys. I mean, people are really thinking of LGD as an honest contestant for a finals team, and they don't even look like they're going to get out of groups. I think it's very unlikely now. And like you said, all those issues, it seems like there's a lot of drama behind the scenes with this team. Imp had a Facebook post the other day about his wrist issues. Obviously, that's bothering him too. TBQ is just getting eviscerated by the Chinese fans.
And he's sick, apparently.
This is a broken team. And I feel like we've actually got two broken teams in this group. LGD and TSM, both of these teams just seem fundamentally damaged to the point where I don't think we're going to see any chance for these guys to get out of groups.
Well, TSM did just win against LGD. Like, that's probably what they needed.
Who's not, right?
Sure. Everyone's getting TSM. We could probably beat them right now. We made it.
I mean, they're not here, but...
But Teams Ultimate, they get their one win. They have now 3 days of practice, and that's going to be super important. Again, just one last point on LGD here. If they are going to win any games, it's going to be Imp basically doing it for them. I think I just mentioned earlier how some of the Chinese bot lanes maybe could have been a little bit overhyped coming into Worlds. I think that's maybe for the laning phase. Outside the laning phase, Imp has been looking fantastic. They had that game against Origin where he was basically the only guy trying to win the game for LGD.
Yeah.
That's just not enough when every other team is showing up in your group except for maybe TSM as well.
Yeah, so I do think that there is still, I think, a small chance for LGD here. If they go 3-0, which, based on the quality of their players, should be possible, right?
There's a higher chance you get more hair on your head. I'm just going to say it.
Oh my god.
Wow.
Okay, well,
Is there any
that's
response
out of
to
line,
that?
but I think, honestly, there's a realistic chance that LGD can 3-0 in the second half here. I know they're good players. Fixing pick and ban, to me, is not the worst thing in the world. Like, 3-game sample size does not mean your team sucks forever at pick and ban. Obviously, it was 3 bad games for them, but maybe that improves. Also, I mean, we talked about Origin. If they just beat TSM one more time, they're guaranteed top 2. That's how the group's going to work out right there. So Origin are basically guaranteed in. I think we're all going to pick them for that one. And then, yeah, it's a battle between, I mean, LGD have to make a 3-0 run, almost for sure.
Yeah.
TSM, like, have to try to get up there as well. So, predictions... Origin's probably number 1, but then who's next?
Origin and KT.
Origin, KT.
Because like TSM will have to win 2 games and lose the one to LGD for them even to have a chance and so on. I'm not buying it. KT and Origin takes it.
Yeah, I think that's the likely one. So that's it for Group D, guys. Hey guys, it's time for Twitter. Let's talk about last week's question. We asked you guys to tell us which returning world champion had the highest KDA at the first week's group stage. That was former Fnatic, now Origin mid laner ex-Peke. 8 of you got that right, so congrats to that one. Unfortunately, none of you got the Hall of Fame question right, which was the exact KDA. He went for 10.3 at Tiny Baby Turtle. Got close. It was only 11. Less than 1 off. I'm sorry you didn't get that one right, but that brings us to our question for this week. And the topic is champion diversity, because you see, here at Worlds, we've already had 59 unique champions picked and 19 unique mid laners as part of that, which is pretty damn impressive. We're going to ask you guys what's going to be the next unique champion picked. I'm going to say Corki, and for the Hall of Fame, who's going to play that champion? And I'm going to say Prey, the Coup Tigers AD carry. Send us an answer to @LOEsports on Twitter, #PTL, and maybe you'll win. Hey everyone, let's talk about Group C a little bit here. This one, I guess a bit more cut and dry, much like the weather behind us here. SK Telecom T1, Edward Gaming, top 2. Tell me what you thought about the game so far.
So no real surprise, I guess, regarding the SKT, EDG against the other 2 teams.
Yeah.
But the match between the EDG and SKT did surprise me and disappoint me a little bit. EDG made some very poor mistakes in the early game. I felt, at least, mistakes that we don't often see, especially not from a top team in the world. The way they did the early dragon in the lane swap that set them super far behind and then opted into a very poor fight after I've used some ultis made me realize that EDG is the team who probably has some things they need to fix, where SKT seems to be more the complete package already in the group stage.
They really do, and I mean, the thing is EGG has shown us already, though, that even though they're really, really good at MSI, They did falter in the playoffs in LPL. We know these guys are mortal, at least more mortal than SKT is looking. So I think no question about it for me anyway, SKT over EDG. But also no question that SKT and EDG are going to easily get out of this group.
Bangkok Titans?
Yeah, no, pretty much.
No miracle run for them. Yeah, actually, one thing I want to point out, actually, this is weird, but Faker, I feel like, is underperforming. I think he's the worst player on his team right now. He got caught out in the H2K game a whole lot, gave up first blood, and should have probably given EDG a free dragon off that kill, but it was EDG misplays that kind of screwed that one up. H2K gave Marn a bunch of kills otherwise, but like Faker's giving other teams the advantage.
Let me jump in here. Hold on a second. Like, I'm not the guy who always has to defend Faker's honor, but I'm the guy who always has to defend Faker's honor. And I think the thing is that people are just focusing this guy so much. I mean, it's Faker, and we've seen this at so many international tournaments. So like, what do we have to do against SKT? We gotta kill Faker. We gotta focus on the mid lane and all that. And although every team wasn't purely focused on the mid lane, I think the attention being given to Faker is causing him to die a little bit more, and he always dies a little bit more.
He's aggressive.
Calling him the worst player on the team right now,
I said worst performing. I'm not saying he's bad. I'm saying he's not having good games.
It's a 9 out of 10 instead of a 10 out of 10.
I think he's
for
doing
Faker
what he can.
in that sense. But Marin has been like the star player on this lineup.
I'll agree with that.
Also, like they're giving him these counter matchups and they're making sure Benki's always up there for him, like he's done all season long. So I like that play for SKT. Let Marin just take over and Faker will step up whenever he needs to.
All right, so SKT, EDG, SKT, EDG, SKT, EDG. No surprise here.
Bangkok Titans.
All right, guys, you heard what we have to say about this group, but now we're going to hear what the players have to say as my co-guys roll me. Let's tune into mic check.
Not allowed to give up. You cannot say, I hate this game if the game is 1-5. No tilting allowed. I got you guys' back.
Oh, this feeling. I so miss this.
파이팅 합시다, 파이팅! 파이팅! 파이팅!
파이팅!
나이스! 바로. 형, 아이콘 한번 뛰어. 아이콘 한번 뛰어.
가자, 아이콘님!
머리, 어깨, 무릎, 발.
나 뒤에 있을게. 나 못해.
스웩. 머리, 어깨, 무릎, 발. 스웩.
再吃，要打了。勾到拉着打，他没进化了，我抢到吧，往里面打，里面。
走吧，Rookie。哇，这被抢了。
Oh my god.
Speed 6.
Watch Mega.
Nice Mega, watch out for the ulti.
I'm not gonna flash. I'm just gonna stun. Okay.
Echo.
Come on, Echo.
Got this.
No.
I'm on
Echo's at 1%. Protect Jinx.
Back. Two.
Stun right now. Trist. Echo. Yo, get Gnar.
He's
Back. You can end.
I couldn't stun Rek'Sai yet. Stun Rek'Sai.
Nice.
Nice, guys. Nice.
Ari.
Nice, guys.
Darius.
Go.
GG, eu acho.
Bateu o trash.
Puxa mid. Look at the guy. This guy.
Ult me. On him.
I will ulti soon.
Nice. Imp.
Good job. Level.
Sorry.
Come in. No.
Ini Nash.
Shield me. Yo, they're going. Kill Yasuo. Kill Yasuo. Careful. Yo, backline.
You win that.
Yo, get him. Let's go. Yo, good shit. Holy shit. You got a penta? Yo, we win. Go. We win.
What the hell?
Yeah, they're all dead somehow.
I don't even see how they die.
Wait, that's we can end. Yeah. 可以打，先把牛大军逼出来。
那被定住了哦。
OK。
我拿被抢哦。
慢慢来，那会推。AD 死。Nice。标，爆。
헤카림 봐야 돼. 끝내. 여기서 끝내.
맞아.
나이스 KT 로보 이모티콘.
GG.
Hey everyone, welcome to Death Timers here. First, let's talk about last week's results. Unfortunately, big upset still here at Worlds. Crepo somehow won. I think he rigged the vote. Damn it, Belgium, do your job.
He had no competition, that was the problem.
What? Okay, well,
like
anyway, he's been kicked off the show for that crap. Let's talk about this time's Death Timers. Okay, Topic is the number 3 team at Worlds. LGD was probably going to be that. That doesn't look to be the case. So let's find our next number 3 team. I'll start because you guys have been talking about the groups. I'm going to say Fnatic. What? No, sorry, Origin.
Kind of
I was going to say
Fnatic. Wow.
My brain said Fnatic's Origin, and then that was terrible.
You got 45 seconds. You better get going.
I've already started with that one. I mean, I don't even need that much time. I can just sit here and talk about how good Origin is. Basically, down the line, all of their players are playing spectacularly, so talent pool's there. Their pick and ban phase, very strong. Their shot calling, very strong as well, especially the fact that they're able to pivot their games so well. When I said all play Vlad top out of this competition, haven't played it in a month and a half, doesn't matter. The fact they're so smart, they can pivot onto a game, and that's so important, especially in best of ones. And then you go into best of fives, and you can continue to adapt. Like in just the entire Worlds format, adapting game by game, and the fact they're doing it so quickly, huge for Origin.
Okay.
Made it.
There it was.
Whoa.
Waiting for it. So you didn't use 45 seconds. That is impressive.
Too late.
But
Hashtag Phreak win.
seeing as you took Origin now, so you kind of took the easy one, that probably is going to get quite a lot of the votes, I'll take instead the KOO Tigers. And personally for me, watching KOO Tigers take down CLG was very important for me, picking them as the 3rd best team at Worlds now, because they won in the early game. This is a team normally that's known for having the best late game team fights in all of Korea. And now they take down teams in the early game. They're in a group where, yes, there have been some upsets. They lost to Flash Wolves. I feel like that was more due to the composition. Didn't have enough hard engage versus the Black Shield from Morgana and the Pokemon. They're not going to make that mistake again. And their drafting outside of that one game has been smart. The players are showing up. Smep is being good up in this top lane here. Gorilla is my favorite support at World. So I think this KOO Tigers lineup, especially in best out of 5, will win.
Done.
You're done.
You're done. All right. Well, for me, it's an easy choice, right? If the so-called best team in China doesn't, or second best, whatever, doesn't step up, I think the second best team in Korea is going to step up. That's KT Rolster right now. These guys, I think, are going to win it really easily, or at least win enough to be the 3rd place team. I mean, these guys have a huge lineup, right? Everybody's playing well. Even though Nagne's losing lane once in a while, he doesn't lose it hard enough to really damage the team. I think the mistakes they made in their loss were small. I think they're going to come back and 3-0 the second week. I think they play the late game better than any other team in their group. So for me, no question, KT Rolster, 3rd team right now behind SKT EDG. Hashtag don't win. I don't even need any more time.
They can stop by Origin.
Exactly. They got stomped by Origin.
Yeah.
Division even said that mine was correct to start out his argument. So, guys.
Well, no,
no.
You took the easy one. You took the easy one.
I chose the correct one because they're going to be 3rd place. That's why it's easy. You had to come up with something that wasn't even true. Guys, you know what? You're done here talking. I'm the host. You're going to let me do this one. Hashtag Phreak win. Hashtag the Fisher win. Hashtag Doe win. These guys don't deserve it. These guys. Come on. It's me. Let us know who won at All Esports. Hashtag PTL. Hashtag the guy who won. All right, guys, time for that final group, which is actually the first group to play here. Group A. Spoiler alert, you already said KOO Tigers number 3 team at Worlds, so that's going to be a thing. But Doa, I'm going to start with you. Talk to me first about last week's games.
Well, I mean, again, like, this group's results were crazy, right? Everybody's kind of beating everybody. It seems very tight. I still think KOO's going to come out on top of it. I think they're a little bit stronger than everybody else. But, I mean, the 2nd place is completely up for grabs, in my opinion, right now. I have no idea who's going to take it. It could be CLG. It could be anybody, really.
After watching KOO Tigers versus CLG, again, as I said before, it highlights to me how strong this team can be. The early game suddenly worked for them. They clicked. They outplayed CLG there, mechanically especially. Good pick and ban phase outside of that Flash Wolves game where they made some mistakes, banning Gragas, leaving Italy open and so on. The other teams, that's the crazy thing. I think CLG is the 2nd best team in the group. Honestly, for sure, I think they are better than Flash Wolves. Because watching the Pain Gaming Flash Wolves match, it was weird. It's where it showed to me a lot of weaknesses for both teams, honestly, that they shouldn't be able to advance from the group because of those problems. When Pain Gaming had that massive goal lead, couldn't use it properly, it went on to 45 minutes or so on, CLG will punish that when they face each other.
I think CLG as a team actually will do a lot better this next week than before. I mean, they had a lot of big mistakes. I mean, every single game they played, really, that was close. Like Flash Wolves, they threw a big lead. KOO Tigers just completely screwed up their early game. I think that will change for CLG and they will improve. I actually expect to see at least a tiebreak between CLG and KOO. Unless CLG is 3-0, and I guess there wouldn't be one because they're both 2-1 here. So I think there's a really tight contention. I'm going to start going into predictions here. I think CLG will edge over KOO Tigers and take the first seed out of the group, but I do think those are the top 2 for sure.
I would say KOO Tigers will get number 1, but CLG will follow. 1 win probably under them. as the second place, and I think both Flash Wolves and Pain Gaming will have to fight for that third spot down in the bottom.
I pretty much agree with you. I think there's maybe a small chance that we could see Flash Wolves like edge out CLG for second place, but most likely I think it's going to be CLG.
Well, so you're saying CLG is the one that might fall down. That's interesting. Okay, so Flash Wolves fighting for that second spot against CLG.
Maybe.
Coup for sure, number one. Okay, well, that's interesting. Just the
so
difference
CLG
in
starts up
predictions.
here and then we go down a little bit across the line.
I think it's like 70-30, like CLG over
They're like 2.2 versus
yeah.
2.7, you know, they're like right underneath. All right, well, that's the predictions here for that group. Welcome to a new segment called Studs and Duds. Normally it's about fantasy players, but this time it's going to be just about overall League of Legends gameplay here. Not as much a competition, just we each picked a player that we thought played really, really well and a player that played really, really badly at this year's Worlds. Devicio, start with yours.
So my stud is going to be Incarnation. I think he's been basically the MVP for C9. He's now 3-0 in their group. I think he's playing the mid lane is fantastic. I think the strategy they're running with always moving sneaky to mid lane and push down the towers they learn requires a good mid lane who can always keep pressure in that lane, and Incarnation is doing that. The only mistake he basically had was dying once to Rookie on Echo, and that was about it. He won the lane anyway in terms of farm. So I think he's been fantastic. As long as he can keep performing like this, and he can keep showing champs like Veigar, you know, show up on his ear, maybe he even has more picks ready for himself, then this guy can carry C9 to the playoff brackets.
Okay. How about your dad? Who's underperforming?
So another mid laner, Godvi.
Yeah.
A guy who's not going to be able to carry his team to the bracket stage at all because he's been pretty terrible, honestly. This was a guy I expected to be one of the best mid laners in the world. I even thought he could maybe challenge Faker this World Championship. That would be the way LGD could like win Worlds. That was 2 weeks ago. Now here I'm looking at this guy and being like, he's flashing the wrong way, he's shooting his arrows the wrong way. He's more gold V than he's God V, and the Chinese community is literally just making so much fun of him right now because of the way he's underperforming, and if he does not step up, then LGD goes 0-6.
That's going to be harsh for the number one seed from China.
Yeah.
Doe, who are yours?
All right, well, my favorite for this one, my stud, I guess you could say, is my Minnesota brother, the Braum playing, the F-bomb dropping, Lemon Nation. Man, this guy played so well this week. He had a couple occasions where he was like in kind of a weird position, but that's okay. I'll forgive that because he was trying to be bloodthirsty. He was trying to make plays. That Braum game was probably one of the best I think I've ever seen in my life. I loved it. He was managing the passive really, really well in team fights. And I mean, why would I not pick a support player? Is this really a surprise? But yeah, definitely Lemonation.
How about your dad?
Huni, easy. I mean, this guy again, like, had such great games before, but looked so, I don't want to say tilted, but really, maybe tilted, really, really off in his games this week. I mean, he was, flashing over walls into 1v2s with no support. I mean, he was just not playing well at all. Mechanically, decision-making wise, map awareness, like none of that was there for Huni, and it needs to be if Fnatic's going to win some games.
Absolutely true. All right, my turn. I'm going to say my big stud for this week was Xpeke. Honestly, who would expect him to do this well? Xpeke was mediocre by European LCS standards coming into this one.
Sure.
You know, he was a mid laner, but nothing special. This guy's beating up everybody. And okay, Godvy's underperforming, but he beats up Godvy. He's beating up like absolutely everybody. This guy is doing incredible things here, holding up, beating Bjergsen. Like, there's all these great mid laners in his group, and he's winning against every single one of them. Xpeke just down the line doing wonderful things. A leader for the team, just everything you can say about Xpeke, he's doing wonderful things. Dud-wise, the exact opposite of Peke, I feel like, after me here. CLG somehow is 2-1. I don't think they deserve to win against Flash Wolves. They didn't win against Scoot Tigers. That game looked ugly. And Afro is not only an individual playmaker, but a shot caller here. And both of those from Afro have sucked so far at Worlds. Especially against Scoot Tigers, his early game, he didn't know whether to help Doublelift stay in a lane, so Doublelift lost like 15 farm up against his enemy AD carry, but also he just like doesn't actually help Zion Spartan, and Zion Spartan gets pushed off his lane as well, so Afro's just like doing nothing for the lane swap game, which CLG is normally very good at. And again, their late game shot calling also not very good. A lot of risks, a lot of sort of given comebacks to enemy teams, and he's got to shore up. Well, you guys have heard about our biggest players. Now it's time to look at the biggest plays. Let's take a look at what Balls can now call the Penta. Coming in at number 5, TSM's Bjergsen picks up a solo kill onto KT's Nagne.
Upside now was pushed in, then Darius gets a big wave. Before it was down to something, he got the wave and actually
Nagne, that was not a good decision. Bjergsen,
Oh, he missed that
kill,
one.
he missed the impossible. There's a kill for Bjergsen in the 1v1 in mid. So misses the E, wants the shield from it. Bjergsen somehow lands the chain while Nagne's moving. And then again, Bjergsen expects the ult or something, but happens to walk around the side to never get CC'd.
Tunneling in at number 4, AHQ's Mountain steals the Baron from Invictus Gaming.
Is going to commit completely to this. And now we'll see what happens. Mountain's going to dive in. Baron actually, oh my god, he's stolen! And Mountain gets it. He might get away. Oh, there's a double kill now as IHQ get 3 kills already.
So much wrong with this. So first off, Kid doesn't even use Fate's Call. Kitty's is getting wrecked, and he doesn't help him throw in. And then, why do you ever rend at a number that high? You know exactly how much the opponent can smite for. Well, he rended way early, and they get crushed for it.
At number 3, Kuzmeb shows us his cool moves as he outplays CLG.
Smeb has teleport, he pops it in, he home guards in. Does plenty of damage to kill off one. Promoter will try to trade one back. The flash to keep him alive. Oh my god, Smeb!
After move will get popped. Promoter stops Smeb here, but he just takes that double. Look at the damage.
Just destroys him. Oh, the Q barely landed. Snuck it just over Promoter's shoulder. And that flash to dodge the Q.
Origin's Xpeke shocked us all with his quadra kill in our number 2 play.
Maneuver, they're all grouped up. They gotta be careful here. They're coming in. Imp is okay. Amazing takes a lot of damage. So as trying to get to the backline. He did get hit by Emo play. Xpeke is okay. Big ult coming in from A for him. That shockwave does work though. Imp's still alive though. Oh, and the wild growth. It keeps him alive. Xpeke gets a solo kill, gets a quadra kill. Is this it? I gotta say, it is off of great plays like this. Let's watch it again.
All right, let's see it. So first, Cocoon from Amazing. I'm only looking at Imp here. Everything is on him. If you look at Origin, they're focused. They throw in mid, he knocks him up. That's the wild growth being used, and then it's Shockwave coming in. Such an insane amount of damage. Beautiful chain CC by again.
And coming in at number 1, Cloud9's Balls dunked his way to a game-winning pentakill.
L'engage, c'est parti, Sneaky. Le challenge de la part de Yellow Star. La porte de Impérial. La porte de Impérial est bombe. Il reste Yellow Star. Les Cloud9 implosent et fatigue noire.
Wow, what an amazing play there from Balls. He pressed R and clicked on an enemy champion 4 times. With mechanics like that, no wonder he's Diamond 2. Now, guys, make sure you send the big plays from this week's games as well. At LO Esports, hashtag the Penna. Let us know on Twitter your top 5 of the week. Let's talk about this week's games, actually, because Thursday, 2 p.m. Central European Summer Time, 5 a.m. Pacific Daylight Time. Group Stage A begins with CLG versus Coup Tigers. Could even be a battle for first place in the group. Could be a battle for second place in the group. Who knows? But it's going to be important, so make sure you tune in. And with the schedule, that's going to do it for this week's episode of PrimeTime League. Whoa, hey! Could you numbers in the hair?
Last hit.
All right, the last hit, fine.
I do like your hit, though.
Thanks.
I'm sorry I hit it with my baguette.
It's okay. I forgive you, Deficio.
Last hit.
That's right. We've got the last hit. Now, guys, you may have noticed that for this last week, Riv. Oh my God. Riv hasn't been part of the shows. Unfortunately, he's been out due to injury, and well, we have the gruesome footage right here in this week's last hit.
I hope so. I think he's a good laner, so we'll see if maybe he has any matchups that are worth it.
He's absolutely from Paris.
Yeah. Oh, throw it aggro! Ah!